For
Adrian
sure.
Wojarnowski reports Brandon Miller could rise to the second best available prospect in the 2023 NBA draft. This is from Pick and Row Twitter. I'm not shocked, dude. We've had a lot of discourse and a lot of conversation on social media about Brandon Miller going too. There's a lot of people out there that think you are dumb. Not you personally. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying if you're one of these people that thinks Brandon Miller will go to the Detroit Pistons if they draft with the second pick, I'm in that school of thought. I honestly think they'd pass over Scoot Henderson at 2 for Brandon Miller. I think Brandon Miller's that good. He's in the conversation. But there's a lot of people that will call you dumb if you think that, and that Scoot Henderson is the easy choice and the no-brainer choice. But I don't know, man. I'm slowly liking Brandon Miller on this team more than I am Scoot Henderson.
Yeah, like I know I said it about 3 weeks ago. I told you, give it a couple of weeks.
Yep.
You're going to see the media do this thing where they're going to push Brandon Miller as maybe the second best player in this draft because for the last 6 months, it's been Victor and Scoot. Yep. Everyone's just been debating. It's Victor and Scoot. Well, now it's Victor, Scoot, and Brandon Miller. Not surprised that this is happening. It seems like it happens every year in the draft is if there's a wing. If you do remember in Killian's draft, Patrick Williams was maybe the 12th consensus pick, and he shoots all the way up the 4th for the Chicago Bulls. So this happens, it seems like every other draft when there's a wing with 3-and-D potential. Woj said on ESPN he could turn into that Paul George type of superstar wing that all these NBA franchises want. So not really surprised that they're going to try to push Brandon Miller as the second best player in this draft because not a whole lot of people actually watch the G League Ignite. Even though I do cover the G League, I've seen Scoot Henderson play. Phenomenal player. I still think he's the second best player in this draft. I just think a lot of people are going to be watching March Madness. They're going to be watching Alabama, and they're going to kind of have recency bias. I do think Brandon Miller, to me personally, I think fit-wise, he makes the most sense for the Detroit Pistons, but you usually don't draft for fit if you're drafting, top 5 in the lottery. You're usually drafting for best player available. But like I said, I'm not surprised by it. We've talked about this for 3 weeks, that the media would do this, and now they're doing it.
But do you think the gap between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller is that large? And also, I like that you threw out Patrick Williams, but he was more of a mystery, I think, than Brandon Miller. His draft was more on potential. With Brandon Miller, you're actually seeing the 3-and-D, that secondary playmaking. You saw the handle get better. You're watching him able to take guys off the dribble, using great size, great length. But also when he's not shooting the ball well, he's still affecting the game in other ways. I think Scoot Henderson's phenomenal. I think he's going to be great. There's that real reminder of Derrick Rose. Like, he's a very explosive athlete, good from the mid-range, can get to his spots, like very quick and very athletic. I think you can make it work in Detroit with Ivy and Cade because Cade does have great size. Ivy has good size too for either backcourt position. But man, it's like, do you need that many playmaking guards on one team? I just think with the Pistons, like if there were more mysteries surrounding Cade and Jaden Ivey, I think it'd be no-brainer with Scoot Henderson. But you've seen what those two can do in the NBA, and you see the ceiling of those two. So why do you want to add another guard when you can add a potential Paul George-type player into the mix with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week with Sam Vazini. He had a piece with James Edwards, and he said, Pistons aren't really in a position to draft for fit. Scoot Henderson is the second best player in this draft. They get number 2. They should just draft Scoot and figure it out later. And, I saw something where I thought it was really interesting with Scoot. And some people are saying, like, the Pistons could draft Scoot, but doesn't mean they're keeping him.
Yeah.
They could look to package Scoot and trade him to another team that wants Scoot Henderson, which, that does happen. It happens, but it's very rare you see a team, like trade a second overall pick or, a first overall pick when they do draft him. But like I said, I would not be surprised if the Pistons are 2 and they draft Brandon Miller.